Bitcoin is compressing, and I feel like the next big Bitcoin decision is going to get decided by the next FOMC we have upcoming on Wednesday. And in this video, I will exactly explain why this next FOMC is going to be so super important, and why the fate of Bitcoin here could be in the hands of Powell his tone. Is he going to be dovish or is he going to be hawkish? And what will Bitcoin be doing after this next FOMC meeting, and more stuff happening this week? That's what we will discuss within today's update video. It is definitely going to be a very important one to be prepared for all the volatility we have ahead of us this week. So we will discuss a lot more than only this Bitcoin compression. We will dive into all the economic data coming out this week, into those rate cut probabilities, and I will give an update on Ethereum and altcoins. So from there, guys, make sure to first of all subscribe to the channel, watch and like my latest YouTube videos, and then we can dive into the most important content. Because Bitcoin is clearly compressing here with creating higher lows and basically grinding up until this resistance line. And if Bitcoin could be initiating a breakout here, I think it could be quite a large one, because this resistance line is basically the yearly open, but we will discuss that level a little bit later in today's update video. First of all, I think the direction of the next Bitcoin move is going to get pretty much decided by what tone Powell is going to take at the next FOMC, and of course his speech. Is he going to be hawkish or is he going to be dovish? Before we dive into this itself for Wednesday, we need to look into what's happening today, because today there's also something happening that could be having a big effect on the Bitcoin price and also that next FOMC. Because today we have 2 months of labor market data coming in, 2 JOLTS job openings data reports, so we are going to get some key insights into the US labor market, and that is going to be very important ahead of that FOMC. If we are going to see that the US labor market keeps on weakening, we are probably going to see a neutral Bitcoin reaction, or even a little move higher towards the yearly open. If the US labor market is going to come out very strong on this data today, we can see a dump for Bitcoin, because we need to see the US labor market weakening to keep the rate cut odds high. That is very important at the current moment for Bitcoin. It might sound a little bit contradicting, but this is the reality. We need to see the US labor market coming in weaker than expected, to be honest, on this data today, on both of these reports. It's going to come out later today and could be having a big effect on the Bitcoin price action. Then on Wednesday we have the FOMC meeting itself, and the rate cut of 25 basis points is almost priced in. So basically we are looking more into the Powell speech than the rate cut decision itself, because the market is clearly expecting that the Fed is going to cut rates, so Bitcoin priced most of this in, also with this major bounce from off that 80k level now towards that 90k level. Bitcoin bounced over 10k US dollars already here, because we have been pricing this in. But the speech itself is going to be much more important, and let's see what he will be stating about QT, possible QE, and much more. But the most important thing is he going to be dovish, willing to cut more rates in 2026, willing to ease monetary policy in 2026, or is he going to be hawkish like we saw at the end of 2024 also, and does he want to stop cutting rates at the beginning of 2026? If that is going to be the case, I think Bitcoin is going to see a big drop back to the downside here. If Powell is going to be hawkish, I think Bitcoin could be breaking out higher and initiate a further relief rally back to the top side. That is what I currently think for Bitcoin. That is why we have a very important week ahead of us. We do have this pattern here, that after all of the FOMCs, Bitcoin has been dumping, and that is why I think we need somewhat of unexpected news from off the Powell speech to truly see and push to the upside. Otherwise, there is indeed going to be a big chance that Bitcoin could be breaking to the downside once again. So all eyes on that Powell speech. The Bitcoin compression is here. Usually we do see that compression and consolidation into the FOMC, and after that the big price decision is getting made. So let's see how that will be playing out once again from off exactly this level, but be prepared for a lot of volatility, I would say. Then we have that yearly open I discussed in a lot of update videos. Once Bitcoin breaks this yearly open, I think we can see a continued continuation of the move to the top side here, because this is indeed a very important resistance level for Bitcoin, like we can also see inside of this compression. The yearly opens are always very important levels for Bitcoin. If you go back into all the yearly opens since 2013, these levels always provide major resistance or support, or both on different moments. But what we can clearly see is that the yearly opens are usually very important levels for Bitcoin, and the direction Bitcoin takes after, for example, breaking above the yearly open or breaking below it, getting rejected in this scenario. And usually the direction Bitcoin takes after, for example, breaking above or getting rejected from off the yearly open, usually those directions are quite important, because we do see quite big moves after a decision from off the yearly opens during Bitcoin's history. So this is a very important resistance level for Bitcoin, and like stated, I hope we can be breaking this because of some bullish news hitting the markets and potentially because of this Powell speech. But let's see about exactly that. Like stated, today we have the JOLTS job openings report dropping, so key insights into the US labor market just before that FOMC. On Wednesday itself we have the rate cut decision, and of course the press conference, so the Powell speech also. And on Thursday we had some PPI data dropping, but actually this PPI data is cancelled. Some of it is cancelled, the November data here, so we don't have that coming out. We also have the initial jobless claims coming out on Thursday, so we have a lot of data coming out this week, and I'm definitely quite excited to see how it will be looking like. Then the rate cut probabilities are still at 87% here at FedWatch, and on Polymarket they are even at 95%, so the market is still quite certain that the Fed will be cutting rates tomorrow. But like stated earlier, that's also what the market is currently pricing in, so I don't think the rate cut itself will be having a big effect on the markets. Then I do want to discuss Ethereum for a little bit, because I must say not a lot is different now with Ethereum. We did close our Ethereum position in a profit earlier on the channel, and now we are just watching where the market will be moving next year. We are reassessing the market, and eventually I do want to open new Ethereum and Bitcoin trading positions, but I do want to have more clarity about that Fed monetary policy here for the upcoming months and maybe even for the next year. I do want more clarity about exactly that. Otherwise, I think it's very risky to open trading positions now, definitely swing trading positions in my personal opinion. But if you do want to be trading yourself, make sure to come over to Albank, claim your 2.5k deposit bonus and your 5k generous refund. You can find this link in the description on this update video. If you're going to come to one of my recent videos, you can just click on the video itself, and there you can be claiming a 50% deposit bonus, a $100 bonus, and also that 5k generous refund on your first trading position. So make sure to prepare yourself for the next FOMC meeting with a nice bonus, that we can be taking some nice trades. Of course, you don't have to follow me. I'm not a financial advisor. You can just trade Bitcoin, ETH, and a lot of altcoins yourself on Albank here. So make sure to come and check it out if you're getting interested in that. And like stated, you can find that link in the description under this update video. Looking into Ethereum on the shorter term, it is basically looking exactly the same as Bitcoin, and that's why I'm saying it's a little bit boring. I don't have a lot to say about ETH. We can clearly see that Ethereum is basically perfectly following the Bitcoin price action, and that next big decision here from Bitcoin, and also highly affected by the Powell speech, that is going to be the most important thing for Ethereum. Also, Ethereum is going to follow the Bitcoin price action here for the next few days and weeks, probably, in my personal opinion. So let's see about exactly that. Or we do need to see something very interesting about the monetary policy coming out, meaning that in higher risk assets like Ethereum could be outperforming Bitcoin. But yeah, I think the chances of that are not that high at the current moment. Basically, for altcoins, my standpoint is exactly the same as how I'm looking into my Ethereum trading and Bitcoin trading positions now. I do want to see more clarity about the monetary policy. I do want to have a clear outlook on exactly that for 2026, for example, or just more information. And based on that, I will be taking more altcoin positions again, and I will be investing into the market. But I think over the history of altcoins, we've clearly seen that the monetary policy is having a big effect on altcoins. And if you do want more clarification about exactly that, make sure to also watch the other videos on this channel, because we have been discussing the monetary policy of the Fed and the effects on altcoins a lot here. So make sure to check out the other videos. I don't want to keep repeating myself, because also I saw a few comments about that. I don't want to keep doing that. We are also looking into the PMI, so the US business cycle, not only the Fed balance sheet, so basically the difference between QE and QT. or a neutral standpoint, but also the PMI, the US business cycle, is a very important indicator for altcoins. If you compare the PMI with the altcoins dominance, basically it have been perfectly moving in line with each other, the altcoin dominance and the PMI. So I think this is a very interesting indicator for altcoins, and this could be a reason, and this could be basically an explanation why altcoins did not pump this cycle, the PMI staying this low here in this buying altcoins zone. And I do definitely think, if I look into, for example, this chart, and then once we're going to get a signal that QE might be getting started, like we saw here in 2020, if something like that could be coming, and you're looking into the PMI like this with a lot of undervalued altcoins, that's of course where it's going to get very interesting. And that is why we're live streaming all of the important economic data on the channel also. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of this data. Later today, I will also be live with this US labor market data. So make sure to come and check it out. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on anything. And yes, here I will keep you guys up to date on what positions we might be taking in the near future. And guys, that was it for today's update video also. If you did enjoy today's update video, make sure to subscribe to the channel, watch and like my latest YouTube videos. A little bit of a shorter update video than normal, but yeah, unfortunately there's not that much happening. I think the true fireworks, we are going to see that later this week, and most definitely on Wednesday. Okay guys, that was it for today's update video, and I will see you guys within my next live stream later today, or the update video tomorrow.